It was supposed to be just another night shift, like any other. The kind of shift that feels like it will drag on forever, where the silence of the building is only broken by the occasional creak of the floorboards or the soft hum of a refrigerator in the hallway. For those who work the night shifts at care homes, it's usually a quiet job, checking in on the elderly residents, ensuring their safety, and making sure everything is in order. But for one staff member, this night was far from ordinary. It started small at first, the sound of footsteps echoing in the halls when no one was there. At first, the staff member thought it was just the old building settling, as buildings often do. But then, the whispers began. Soft voices, barely audible, but enough to make the hair on the back of the neck stand up. No one was supposed to be awake at this hour, and yet, the voices lingered, like a presence, just out of sight. It wasn't long before the staff members started hearing stories from the residents. One by one, the elderly patients began speaking of something they had seen in their rooms. They spoke of faceless figures, shadowy silhouettes, standing at the foot of their beds, watching them. Some claimed to have seen them in the corners of their rooms, just out of reach of the light. Others said they could feel the presence of these figures, like cold hands on their skin, but when they turned, nothing was there. One night, as the staff member was checking on the residents, they couldn't help but overhear a conversation between two elderly women in a hallway. Woman 1. "I saw it again. That thing. It was right there, standing in the corner, no face, just darkness." Woman 2. "I've seen it too. It's always there when the lights flicker. I'm not imagining it. It's real." These weren't just bad dreams. Something was happening in that care home. Something that couldn't be explained away. As the days went on, the staff member began to notice strange things happening to them, too. They couldn't ignore it any longer. One night, as they walked down the hallway to check on a patient, something stopped them in their tracks. At the far end of the hallway, a shadow appeared. It wasn't just any shadow. It was the shape of a person, but the figure was wrong. It was too dark, too solid, like it absorbed the light around it. As the staff member walked closer, they realized that something was terribly off. The figure wasn't moving. It was just standing there, watching. When the staff member reached the figure, they froze. The face, there was no face. Just a blank, featureless void where a face should have been. The figure simply stood there, staring at them, until they could no longer bear it. The staff member fled down the hallway, their heart pounding in their chest, and when they looked back, the figure was gone. After that night, the staff member couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. They spoke to others in the home, but no one seemed to take their concerns seriously. Everyone was too afraid to talk about it openly, but the whispers among the residents continued. Staff member: "Have you heard the stories from the residents about the faceless figures?" Other staff member: "I've heard them too. I don't know what to think. It's just so strange." With no one willing to take it seriously, the staff member decided to investigate on their own. They spent the following days researching the history of the building, hoping to find some clue as to why these strange events were happening. What they uncovered shocked them. The care home had been built over the site of an old hospital, one that had a dark history. Many years ago, it had been the location of a series of unexplained deaths. Rumors circulated that the hospital had been poorly managed and that patients had suffered in unspeakable ways. Some even believed that the souls of those who had died there had never truly left, that they were still lingering, trapped in the building. The more the staff member uncovered, the clearer it became. This care home was haunted, and the faceless figures were the spirits of those who had died in the hospital long ago, restless and angry. As the nights wore on, the encounters became more frequent. The faceless figures seemed to follow the staff member, always appearing in the corner of their vision, always watching. One night, As the staff member walked into the patient's room, they saw something they could never forget. There, standing at the foot of one of the beds, was a figure, its faceless void staring at them with an intensity that felt almost deliberate. The staff member turned to flee, but the door slammed shut in front of them. Trapped, they turned around to face the figure, their heart racing. They tried to scream, but no sound came out. It was as if the air had thickened around them, pressing in on their chest. And then, just as suddenly as it appeared, the figure vanished, leaving the staff member gasping for air, overwhelmed by fear. The care home had claimed its final victim, and no one would ever know the true extent of the horrors it held within its walls. The care home remains standing today, its dark history hidden behind the walls. The faceless figures may have faded from view, but their presence lingers in the minds of those who lived through the terror. And who knows? Maybe they're still there, waiting for the next unsuspecting soul. Thank you for joining us on this spine-chilling journey into the unknown. If you've experienced something you can't explain, don't be afraid to share it. Who knows what's waiting for you in the darkness?